Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the Dungeon Minister. Happy New Year, everybody. We have people here. Oh my gosh, we got Sean, we got James, we got RC Gunner, we got Steve, we got Mage's Musings, we got Mark. We have got Dirty Basement Terrain, Patrick, Tonka, Low, 505 General Nutt, sir, from Bolton. That's not far from here. General Nutt, I'm in your jurisdiction. Hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream. I am bald again. Mage's Musing, and that is why someone gave me the. Well, I'll talk about that later. Why are you sad, RC Gunner? Is it because I'm bald? I did actually. If you notice up in which direction? This corner, right there. StreamYard. I'm doing this with StreamYard this time. We'll see how that works. Hello, BD. Hello, BD. Yeah. So we'll see how StreamYard works for me. It's all new. I don't quite. It's a little nerve-wracking. Hello, Pidar. How are you doing? Being bald does save time in the morning. I was starting to look. It's past your bedtime. Oh, RC Gunner, you gotta. You know what? You go over to Dirty Basement. He's got some coffee going on. Happy New Year, James Keck. How are things going at the observatory? I'll steal that joke from Bill Sylvie. I will. No, the reason I do the bald is I noticed editing the last two videos, which were filmed at the same time. The one that released today and about a week ago, all filmed in one go. It was one filming, and I noticed my hair just looks stupid. The last three videos, really, my hair's been looking stupid, so I buzzed it off. Someone had said, actually, they came up with a very good idea, and for the life of me now, I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry if it was one of you. The last video, there was a bit about the poison, and the drip of poison fell into my coffee mug kind of thing. And someone said, oh, I thought you were going to go back to that at the end, like take a drink of coffee and die. And the thing is, when I film it, I have no idea what I'm going to do in the editing. Like, I didn't have that joke when I did it. I was just talking about the poison. And so, like, when you watch the video, what you're really seeing is me reacting to myself with the edits, all the characters that pop up. Very little of that I have planned in advance. So I didn't even plan for the little poison drip, so I couldn't have. And then I thought, well, I could add it in, but by then I'd done this. So I couldn't add the gag into this last video. Hello, Jeff the Wolf. A happy New Year to you and to Katie. 2022 was pretty good. I'll say that. It was pretty darn good. I'm hoping for good in 23 as well. I'm also going to mention to you that I've got a terrific lag between comments. I've got two things going. I've got my phone with a video over here, and I've got this open on StreamYard, and there's a terrific lag between when a comment appears on my phone and when it appears on the screen here. So I don't know if it's because it has to bounce over to StreamYard and then what, but anyway. So if you comment something and it takes me forever to respond, that's why. All right. I hope everyone's doing well. Looks like we got Monster Cookies and Code Red. Is that James Seymour? Is Code Red a drink? Better than 2020. It would have to be, RC. It would have to be. Is Code Red a drink, or are you having a fire? Because if it's a fire, really, honestly, just get out of the house. Really, go. Yeah. Good Lord made a few perfect heads and the rest he covered with hair. That's what your grandpa used to say. There you go. I don't know if my head's perfect. What's inside it certainly is far from perfect. But the shape of it's all actually not bad. I have to say that, I have to admit. Although from the back, it does look a little bit like Darth Vader with his helmet off. Hello, Zach. Mountain Dew for you. Okay, extra caffeine. Oh, you're telling me it's Mountain Dew. Coated cherry Mountain Dew. what I never knew I wanted. Hello, Gary. Hello, Gary. Good to see you. Red Mountain Dew. Does the world need Red Mountain Dew? I remember a fellow I went to university with, they advertised more caffeine in some drink. And he said, I don't think I want more. I think I'm fine with what I had. Anyway, that was Mark. Good guy Mark was. I'm having red black fly myself. So I'm going the opposite direction from caffeine. Hello, Blaine from New Zealand. We were watching your fireworks. Our boys go to bed before the New Year's, because the youngest is just 8 now, and he can't stay up that late. But if his brothers do and he doesn't get to, he'll be upset. So they all just go to bed at a slightly later time. I just got them in bed actually, and so we watch fireworks from other places in the world. From London and Paris and Greece, and we watched some from New Zealand earlier today. So Jolt Cola. Oh, I remember going out for Jolt Cola. Happy New Year, Lightmane. Lightmane, I was listening to a couple of your videos today as I was tidying up around the house. I had time to do housework and the boys were busy with something, so I wasn't getting interrupted constantly. I was listening. Lightmane has written a book and he narrates it on his channel, and every video is a chapter. I was listening to a chat from a truly disturbing, Lightmane, I have to say, description of it's the orc lair with the skulls and everything. It's pretty cool though. Yes, the Mandarin mean to the Padre. I'll tip a bottle of Black Fly back at you. But that was pretty cool though. That fight with the. Hello, Mr. Chapman. Hello, Tim. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year to you as well. That's good to see everyone here. We got 30 eyes on, or excess 60 eyes, unless some of you have an eye patch. Oh, Steve, I'm with you on the Jolt. I had a friend, Adam, and I would we would sneak out of the house. My mother probably knew we were going, and we'd sneak out of the house and we'd go and buy Jolt Cola, and then bicycle around Janesville, Wisconsin at all hours of the night, not doing anything in particular, right? Benton Harbor, Michigan represents. Hello, Lordcast 2000. Back in the Midwest, my homeland. Not Michigan, but the Great Lakes states. God bless him. Lightmane's down there, Chi-Town area, as I recall. The average person has about 1.8 eyes, or is that 18? I only have about 1.2, so I get 1.8 eyes. Anyway. So, aside from just general badinage and chatter tonight, I thought, because I'm using StreamYard, I thought it might be fun. I thought so, Lightning. I thought it might be fun to dive into some dungeon design. Zach, you're in Wisconsin. Janesville, right here. Where in Wisconsin are you, Zach? I thought it'd be interesting to dive into some dungeon design. I keep looking over here because that's where I am, but I should look here where you are. Bill's much better at this than I am at looking at the camera. Bill Sylvie, by the way, the Dungeon Delver, who's an old pro at this. Back me talk. That's right. Thank you, Cal. I wanted to do a dungeon design, and my thought was we could do a little group think, and you could help direct the design of it. Partly because people sometimes ask, how I'm coming up with the ideas, and partly just because I thought it'd be a fun thing to do together, and kind of give you some background on the last couple of dungeons. The last 2 episodes were one dungeon, and then I did the other one in one video. But they were a very clear departure from how I normally design my dungeons. And I thought I'd go into that a little bit and what that's about. Hello, Hungar. Happy New Year and happy early birthday to you. I gather it's tomorrow. Gary grew up in Oshkosh, moved to New Jersey many years ago. Well, you're in Jersey, so's Tim. Tim's in Jersey, too. You're near Rice Lake. All right. Well, it's lovely to see another Wisconsin boy. Say hello to the old place for me. I do miss it sometimes. I really miss Milwaukee, which where I lived just before I moved to Canada. I lived downtown Milwaukee in one of those old brick apartment buildings. Downtown Milwaukee is lousy with these, 6 to 10 story apartment buildings. Beautiful little buildings, small apartments, kind of um, not run down, but clearly past their prime. But they're well kept. And I lived right across the street from the Episcopal Cathedral there in Milwaukee. Lovely, lovely neighborhood. Lovely neighborhood. I really miss Milwaukee and I miss Wisconsin. And I don't know actually if I miss Wisconsin or if I miss the way the world was in the 1980s. BD, born in Wisconsin, moved to Minnesota. Born in Wisconsin, moved to Minnesota, BD. Happy New Year's from Texas, Shadows Pawn, down in Texas. Frankie, Frozen Yankee Place. The Frozen Tundra. Anyway. Oh, thank you, Fate Master Cesium. I've also been listening to your stuff. I had a massive pause in listening to anything from almost all of December because I just got up to my ears. And now I'm going back. Fate Master Cesium also does a recap video of a game he's playing. And Fate Master, remind me the name of the game because I don't recall. It is set in the modern world, though, like the modern world, like it's in the 60s or 70s. It's in the 70s, which has a certain nostalgia to it in and of itself. Noblesville, a few hundred miles from Milwaukee. I consider myself a Great Lakes guy myself. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, there's something about the Midwest in the 80s. It was just like Dresden Childings using the Fate core system. Thank you. Yeah, the Dresden Childings is the name of your campaign. Dirty Basement, you're in Pennsylvania. My first job out of university was in Pennsylvania, in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I was hired out of university to join a theater company because I was an actor before I was a priest. Surprise. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, the PA stage, which I think has folded by now. Maybe not. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I moved in, actually. That was in, when did I graduate? 96? See, I went at 95. 95. Oh man, I'm losing it. Maybe it was 96, and it was a really huge snowstorm. I went out there, and I was there for like one day, and then all the snow in the world fell on Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it was the kind of thing where you could only tell where the cars were because of the antennas, Hungar's down in Orlando. You're down there, well, of course, with your brother DM James, and also with Bill Selvey down there in Orlando. There's a lot of gamers down in Orlando. RC Gunner, it was Allentown was everything that Billy Joel says it was, but it was somehow still charming. It was lovely. It would be a long drive. It was a long drive from Philadelphia. I helped someone move. She's the marketing director at the PA stage, and she moved to Philadelphia to work for theater there, and I helped her move. I had a crush on her. We all had a crush on her. Mark's in Iowa. If you build it, they will come, Mark. And another Iowa Woodsman, the Iowa Woodsman and Mark Dickey, both Iowa. Thank you. Well, thank you, Iowa Woodsman. Thank you very much. You've got great content yourself. Why is Minnesota considered Midwest when Arkansas in the lower 40 has the lower 48 geographic center? Well, it's not the West. It's not, cowboys and buttes and the OK Corral. I don't know. Allentown's a good town. I really like it. They had this strange thing downtown, though. I don't know if they still have them. They had these roofs over the downtown shopping area so that you could walk around and you wouldn't get rained on. Like, people thought that was why people were leaving the downtown, to go out to the malls. I don't know. But it was very strange. And I always felt that in a stiff wind or a heavy snow, those things could crack and fall on somebody. So I didn't like them. Did not like them. You're making a sewers map with giant toads. All right. Giant toads are fabulous. I love them. I love them because they're kind of they're so gormless. I mean, toads, right? They're not like frogs are the sort of sexy version of that animal. Sexy is the wrong word, but I mean, toads are, you know, uh, yeah, they're toads, but I love it. A sewer map. That's fabulous. They're gone now. So Dirty Basement Terrain reports that the those bizarre clear roof things, canopies in Allentown are gone. They are Lovecraftian. You're right. They have a sort of double toil and trouble aspect to them. All right. Well, I'm going to show you what I have in mind here tonight. The problem is I can't work on the thing and see your comments. Ah, yes, I can. I have a phone. Innsmouth look? Get ins my mouth. That's what the toad says. Okay. All right, so I'm going to switch over here and add this to stream, and I'm going to make it big so y'all can see it. This is from the website, and I'll get over here so you can see it better. From watabu.itch.io, and I'll throw the link to it in the chat because I can. Have I ever considered adapting a published module? Not yet. I will, I'm sure, at some point. We did briefly take a break, and we played a bit of Horror on the Hill. And they had a lot of fun. If you know Horror on the Hill, if you don't, I'm about to spoil something, so close your ears. If you do, there's this little, this is a jail cell, but it has a tunnel out of it, and then a secret door has been made. Some dwarves tunneled out of it or something. At any rate, my characters hid in the secret passage and would pop out and kill some, is it bugbears? Orcs? I can't remember who was guarding the place. They'd pop out, kill them, and then run back and hide. And they hear all this confusion outside as the creatures, I think it's orcs, I can't remember now, ran back and forth wondering what was going on. It was bugbears, all sorts of noise, all sorts of confusion. They'd wait for it to die down. They'd come out again, attack someone else, kill them, and run back inside. They did that like 6 times, and eventually they kept getting closer and closer, and I kept rolling to see if they would get caught, right? I was letting the dice decide, and they just didn't, right? And eventually I said, okay, I don't care what the dice say. Someone sees you. Someone sees you. The undead, well, they saw the ghouls up in the graveyard before they went into the tunnels. This is underneath the monastery. They went through the monastery. They fought some stuff in there. They didn't explore all the rooms because they found the stairs down pretty early, and then they just went down. So that we had a cleric in the party. Then it wasn't the Honeywood crew. They rolled up different characters, and they had a cleric who succeeded in turning the ghouls. And so those ran away, so they didn't have to worry about them. And then they went down into the tunnels. They were murder hobos, James. They were absolute murder hobos. You know what, Wolf? I don't remember if there were Thules in that. Probably. I don't know though. Okay, so here on this thing, so you'll notice in the last couple of videos, which I hadn't done before, I used a pre-made, no, wrong side, a pre-made dungeon. And that was because I was going to an area we hadn't been to before, and it was going to be dungeons, tombs, things of a culture that was long, long past. So I decided I would use the random generator to just give me boom, and then I could adapt it, change it, etc. But I thought it would be a nice way to introduce something that I wouldn't come up with organically on myself, and would have a sort of a full design that I could then work with. James, yes, I do have dual citizenship. I just actually earlier this year. I've been here forever, but I just got around to doing that. So this site, if you don't know it, again, I put the link up there on the screen. If you don't know it, it really is quite good. This little map, I think you get to it by hitting T. Yes, you get to it by hitting T on your keyboard. Nowhere on here does it tell you that that's how you get this menu. But you can make choices. So I wanted it to be chaotic, not ordered. So if it's gray, it hasn't been chosen. Let's not make it wet. Let's not make it small either. Secret sounds interesting. Back door sounds good. More than one way in. Colonnades, like those. Lots of choices. And let's generate. Okay, so what do we get? We get this. It's kind of fun. 2 doors, both have colonnades where you enter. Got a secret room here and a secret room there. 2 round rooms linked together. So what this is, this is just a Steve. It's just a website. Again, it's watabu.itch.io, and he has all sorts of stuff. It's not just this dungeon generator, but this is one of the things he does. So I thought what we could do, have fun. They are wolves, but again, I wanted something that like I wouldn't do myself. I wanted something that I wouldn't do, and I would never have done round rooms, probably because I'd have to go get something round to trace. Yeah, let's see. Was that what it says at the top here? Let's see. Vault of the Grey King, it says. But it doesn't matter what it says. It says here, let's see, after having been destroyed by a great arcane disaster a long time ago, part of it gets buried under the menus. The Vault of the Grey King remained abandoned. Lately, an undead spectral chicken has made its lair. I'm going to do away with a spectral chicken. I'm going to ignore that suggestion, which I pretty well do. And so this is what I get. This is what I did for the last 2 dungeons. I just randomly generated a couple things, and I kept hitting regenerate until I liked it. Right? No. Ooh, that's really big. Oh, good heavens, that's enormous. Right, here we go. That's something nice and small. That's something nice and small. Looks like it lost all of my my inputs on the tag though. Chaotic colonnades. That doesn't have any colonnades. Try that. There we go. Ooh, this is interesting. You got a couple ways in. One of them comes into this with a secret door. Right? This sort of dead end. Spectral chicken and cockatrice and really scare the heroes. That could, a spectral hound stats for a chicken. I like that. Turkeys, Raptors. The Toronto basketball team is the Raptors. They could be down in this dungeon. Okay. So, looks like a temple. RC, I agree. And if you ask me, this round room up here, can you see my cursor? Let me look on my phone. Can you see my cursor? I don't know if you can. No. The round room at the top there looks like the entrance. That looks like the entrance to me. Raptors can open doors. What levels is my party at currently? I have got, well, you know what? That's actually a moving target. The elves have been 4th level for a while, but as of this last one, the video of which dropped today, I believe they go up to 5th. And Touchberry will probably, he's 5th. He'll go up to 6th. Stu, I can see it. Thank you. He'll go up to 6th, and Fofire is a ways away. She won't go up for a while. Okay, you can see it. That's good. I think this is the entrance because, well, the other entrance was 2 other entrances. There's one here. It's a long way in. Well, this is one of the things where you adapt it. You say, you know what? I'm going to say this is a staircase down. I'm just going to switch these stairs around. I don't care what the random generator did. This is going to be a down staircase because that would be more interesting. It gives me more levels. So this will be our entrance. And A dog that could open the door. Oh, man. That ain't good. That ain't good. That ain't good. We had a cat who could open the cupboard doors, but he couldn't open the doors. Race to see who acquires Fireball. Yes, it will make Torchberry very jealous. And I tell you right now, they all want Fireball, of course, and I am leery to give it to them. Elves don't need the spells like magic users do, right? Elves have combat, right? They're fighters too. But Lightning Bolt is also very good, and it's also a third level spell. So I may do that. I don't know. Or just really disappoint them and give them something really, really nerfed. So okay, if we've got an entrance chamber and something is made a home in it, I love to have animal monsters, non-intelligent, that have just found a nice hidey hole and made their house here. Could be a snake. That's always a good one. The snakes are always useful. Maybe a bear. That would be a fun thing to walk in on. A hibernating bear, or a bear just waking up from hibernation. Because there's a door here, so it's not going to penetrate any further in. The raptors, as someone pointed out, the velociraptors could open the door. But this is a bear. Maybe it, and it wouldn't even think of it as a door, right? It wouldn't look at it and say, how do I open that? Owlbear would be fun. It might be a little early to introduce an owlbear right in the entrance, but carrion crawler. I might put a carrion crawler further in, where it can have some carrion to feed on. Homebrew a fireball variation. Ooh, rock baboons. You know what, Blaine? I have never used rock baboons, and I've got no good reason for it. I do, Wolf. I do like riddle traps and puzzles and things like that. I put a puzzle at the beginning of the mummy one, that tomb, and that was a lot of fun. True, Stu Rat. If they used it as indiscriminately as they do a lot of their play, it would be a quick fry for everybody. It would be a quick fry for everything. Environmental consideration for elves with Fireball. Yes, they wouldn't want to be lighting forest fires by accident. Very good point, Patrick. They'd have to consider those things as they went. I'm gonna say RC. I'm gonna say some spiders maybe later, because there is another entrance over here that maybe they got in. But do I have an idea? Well, Fate Master, someone up, and I can't remember who it was. I think it may have been RC Gunner, said it looked like a temple, and I'm gonna go with it's an old temple. I'm gonna say rock baboons, just because I've never used them before. The key to the door amongst the baboons' treasure. Possibly that, or the key comes with the key is the hook. The key comes with a map, or it comes with a letter. It's found in another treasure hoard with something that indicates maybe the key is attached by a chain to a disc, and when you hold the disc up to the North Star and the constellations align, there's holes in the disc. And when the constellations align to the disc, the arrow will point toward where, and it has a date on it or something. And so on that date, if the northern constellation is aligned with the hole, there's a line on the disc which points the direction. I don't know, something like that. That would depend on where you were in the world. But who cares, right? It's a fantasy game. All right. So have the spiders drop down on them for surprise instead of just seeing them and rolling initiative. I like that. Happy New Year, Squirrel Hermit. The god of the kobolds. Ooh, okay. The Kobold God's Temple. And we've got rock baboons in the opening. They've just found this nice, cozy spot that they could never build, but this is very nice. And the key is part of the hook. That's how they got here. So they have to fight the rock baboons to get in. Now we've got a big temple area, big room. But it's early on. I wouldn't want to put my big bad here yet, or we'd be too beat up to go much other, very many other places. The kobold god is the spectral chicken. Don't tell that to the kobolds. They'll screw around with my sound design again. A few stocked up places for treasure maps found in other. Yes. Well, this is my thought: is that I want to be able to. I don't know if I mentioned. I think I mentioned it in video that curved lake that these last two caves have been on, these last two dungeons have been on. I've decided that the ridge overlooking those lakes, that lake, is just riddled with these kind of little temples and various things. That it was a deep religious site, and somewhere in that lake there's going to be some aquatic beastie that they have to fight, something big, not massive big, not dragon big, but something sizable that they're going to have to take on. That would get along with a water weird. Don't let them kick any chickens while they're in Honeywood. Thank you, Dirty Basement. I know. Don't touch the chicken. Just don't do it. I bet you can't even mug that chicken. You couldn't mug that chicken, could you? Watcher in the Deep. Yeah, Stu Rat, that kind of thing, right? That kind of Loch Nessie. Yeah, that sort of beastie. Kuotoa, they have some crazy gods they worship. Perhaps the first big room is clearly where something bad lives, but no sign of it. And only by exploring deeper, they summon or release it. So the big bad blocks the main way out. Ooh. They do something further in. I decided earlier that that this other set of stairs would go down. Maybe they go down and they activate something. They don't see this room, but there's a room underneath the big main room. They activate something that opens it. That could be fun. I don't know if they're powerful enough for a Bahat because I don't think those are in, unless they're in my handy dandy. Unless they're in my handy dandy creature catalog. I don't know that they're in. I don't recognize it. Put it that way. And because I don't recognize it, I'm going to say they're probably not in. Oh, there it is. There's the Bahat. Oh, dear heavens. That's a friendly looking individual. That might be fun. 7 hit dice. Yeah, what kind of attacks are we talking? Special damage. Freezing to the touch. Besides receiving normal damage, any creature bitten by a butt. There's going to be butt jokes at the table if I do this. Must make a saving throw versus paralysis or be numbed. Numb creatures always lose their initiative. That's actually pretty good. That's really good. Because it's a touch attack. It has an extra effect, but it's not a game breaker. It's not, I've never cared for the lowering levels kind of attack from the undead. But that I like. That's a really good idea. So let's see. So yeah, this big room here, something bad. We don't know what. We see signs of it. Maybe we've got corpses, skeletal corpses, because these rock baboons have been out there for a while and the door hasn't been open for a while. But this isn't the only copy of the key. Others have been in here. And maybe you find other copies of the key on them. And then you've got another set of doors which could be locked. We have a thief. We have knock spells, so this isn't that isn't prohibitive. And into another temple. Here, something's got to live. And I'm thinking this might be, depending on what this cult was, what this was. Maybe this is a tomb room. Maybe we've got sarcophagi in here, and either undead or the carrion crawlers. Someone mentioned that are feeding on them. Honeywood doesn't have kobolds working the sewer. They don't have sewers. Hey, Wolf, you have a good night. Constitution drain. I like that. A mimic, but I don't want to do that to Mrs. Yeah, the thief always getting stuck. A gelatinous cube, and I have never used a gelatinous cube before, Lo, and I've been looking for a reason to use one. So this might be the kind of place. But yeah, something in this second colonnaded room that either undead or carrion crawler. But there's a secret door, and maybe that off there, that secret door down to the south, if you're doing standard map directions, maybe that is I don't know, maybe it could be either the tomb of an important high priest, or maybe this was the ritual room where the priests would prepare before they, processed through the outer gallery into the main temple for worship. And so it could be like it could be where a lot of arcane secrets are kept. Maybe there's a powerful magical item, maybe a cursed magic item is in here. I might even put here in this big room, I might put a dais here so that the worshipers would come in here and they'd fill up this space. And then there'd be a dais here, so that this is where the worship action would happen. And then you could tell you're talking to a priest. And then this one would be where the other monks, they would worship in here. So two different sort of chambers. Separation right there, right? Something Cthulhian as the creature in the lake. That was sort of the direction I was going. Yes. Bioluminescent. I like that, Todd. I like that. Mimics can be trying on marriages. Cobalt gang farmers. Oh, you were saying goodbye to Steve. Oh, I didn't even see Steve. I was off on when I go to look at the map, I have to switch screens. So see you, Steve. Well, Steve's probably long gone by now. So were-rats. The big bad be a cat-based creature that is held by magic. The cult was evil, and the cat warrior was a hero they trapped. Ooh. They play their cards right. They gain an ally against the werewolf invasion. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. Form an ancient feline warrior. Either a werecat or even a Rakasta. Embalming room. Ooh. Magical ritual space. Yes. Mummies. You know what? Mummies, they're tough, but they're not like, when they're sort of extra effect for the undead is that sort of, tomb rot, right? It just means that you can't heal. Well, you can't heal in the middle of combat anyway until you get it magically cured. Now, that's why I put my mummy at the end of the mummy episode, the mummy adventure. I put it at the end because I didn't want them to fight that and then have to go fight other things while they couldn't get cured. But if it's an end monster, so you can't get cured, you're on your way out anyway, as long as there's nothing terrible between you and the exit. Too terrible between you and the exit. Me, all right. Mummies are flammable. One of the secret rooms be the prison cell. Ooh, yes, that small secret room right in the middle of the map. Good one for a prison cell for the victims of the sacrifices. See, suddenly we've gone to human sacrifice. Boom, we're in human sacrifice. Yes, Stew Rat, where there's doors, but where it looks like there should be doors but aren't doors, that's a secret door. And I would assume that that in the room there's no indentation in the wall, even though it shows one on the map. I would assume that it's not. And when I laid down dungeon tiles, obviously, there wouldn't be anything showing. Lots of webs between the columns in that second room. An Ettercap. Ooh. You guys just want to get a lot of players killed, I can tell. Single type of creatures in your dungeon or a mix? You know what? I like a mix as long as they work together. Like, to having things that would clearly kill each other, trying to cohabit space, it just doesn't make sense. But on this dungeon, there's lots of doors. Now, I regularly take doors out, add doors in. The last two, I've erased doors, put doors in. So I'm not stuck with that. But because there's doors, you can split up the species. Now, this second colonnaded room and the room attached to it, neither of them has an access to the surface, unless you said that here and there in the large room, maybe the erosion has broken through and there's shafts of light coming in, so that you could have sturges in there because they'd have a way to fly out. A magical firing range for training evil cultist mages for an eventual attack on the outside community. Ooh, that would be, especially if it was a going concern. Ghouls and giant spider replace poison with Ooh, a ghoul spider. I like that. See, this is what I need to do more: is playing with the monsters. I've done it a little bit. Like the skeleton and armor was a totally invented just based on the mini, right? It was, he wasn't a skeleton because those are easily knocked over, but I played around with him. I made him more powerful. A hallowed spell cast on it, or as a magic dead area, so no magic works. Oh, that would really cheese them off. They get fireball, but then they can't use it. They can't use it on their first one. Lord Cass, sir, are you on your way out? You have a very happy new year. Where are we at? We're at 11:41. I'm trying to keep track of the time. I'm doing this. Let's see if I missed anything here. Yes, there is an enormous secret room up in the northeast corner there. Just huge. That could be massive. That could be something massive. Yeah, so I like the idea of this central room being a prison for sacrificial victims or for enemies of the cult or whatever it was. And here you could have like rooms where the cultists lived, where they had their dorm room in here or something. And what's this little side chapel, perhaps, for their darkest, most evil rites was in this round room in the southwest corner, or southeast corner rather. Is there maybe their darkest rituals were done down here? Because that's right there. This was their barracks, and here's their sort of escape room that goes up to the surface, and maybe a dining hall or something. And maybe this is I don't know, but this goes down. Maybe the little kitchen area, and there could be a chimney up to the surface, which could allow other creatures down in. There could be rats or bats or something in here. But then this, like I said, I'm going to turn the staircase around, and it goes down further. Thank you, sir. I'm going to have another. Giant ghoul spider and a butt as big baddies. Dungeon-specific environmental effects are always a good twist. Null magic, wild magic, undead reanimate after a time. Yes. Well, Dirty Basement, good night to you, and thank you for all your stuff. If you haven't seen Dirty Basement terrain, I got actually a number of like Lightmane, Fate Master Cesium, Dirty Basement terrain, good stuff they make. Some great content. Iowa Woodsman. People living inside need washing, toilet, and cooking facilities. Yes, undead living inside do not. And the nice thing is, like snakes, you could even get away with a carrion crawler if the cracks were big enough, can get in and out through, they don't need a doorway. That's why I was saying in that second colonnaded room could be full of cracks to the surface, like the stone is breaking down and erosion is wearing paths in. And so maybe the holes are big enough a carrion crawler could squeeze through or something. You're talking about before when it was a temple. Yes, they do need a place to wash. That's why I was saying that this little one with the stairs that are going to start going down, maybe that could be a kitchen, or it could be. They could have done their cooking outside. A lot of places. Like I know our house we have a house was built in the 1870s, 1880s, and the room I'm in now was added in the 1930s, and it's an addition off of another addition. The original house stopped after just two front rooms, and then the staircase up, and then there was the door out. So we have two exterior walls inside our house from where the various additions happened, and so it was just a lean-to kitchen. So the kitchen could be outside; it could be up, because you wouldn't want that in a time before cooking ranges and everything. Fires started easily. You might separate your cooking from where you lived. What is a voodoo room? Voodoo room? It's where you do the voodoo that you do so well. Yeah, cool. What's in the big secret room, though? Just gold coins. Nothing but gold coins. I'm thinking in the big secret room, this might be one that I would open up, because that's very big to be secret. But if it remained secret, what could it be? Could it be a place where they kept an undead army that they were adding to? And so, the cult is long since gone, but that undead army is still in there, just waiting to be released. A fungus garden, gold coins and yellow mold. Difficult to tell the difference between the two. What is a voodoo room? Voodoo room is for Muslims to wash their feet before prayer. Thank you, Wolf Brigade. For Stu Rat, rather. Stu Rat must have said voodoo room up somewhere earlier. I don't know. Someone did. No water theme for this one. No, I think maybe I had the water off. You can turn it on or off. Actually, let me see if just run through some comments here to make sure I haven't missed anything. Maybe they're cannibals. Well, maybe they eat them down to the bone, and then they the secret rooms are from the era of an older religion that wasn't evil, and maybe the evil folks don't even know about it. Maybe there's something that would be helpful in there. That's something good in there. Yes, I'm always open to a surface level to the dungeon. I like that. They couldn't see all the way up, but they did see desiccated bodies wrapped in a web and suspended. That is really, really, really often. The true tomb is in the big hidden room. The actual temple where they worship and committed their rites, so that even when attacked, their actual temple is less likely to be sacked and destroyed. Ceramic figures like the Chinese tombs that are golems. Oh, wouldn't that be horrific if all of those terracotta warriors suddenly turned on you? Last surviving temple to a lost god. Ah, man. Okay. Well, let's see about the water thing. I think if I do S, yes. Oh, no. It's there. There's water level. Let's bring the water level up. So that you can think, I want the whole thing flooded. No, let's take the water down. Just a little bit of flooding in a secret room. Oh, that's a bit more. Yeah. Can I do that? Can I make that a 5? No, I can't. I can't adjust it with the keys. Yeah, you can add a bit more water. That could be fun. Moon worshipping cult and have holes in the ceiling to let moonlight in. Good for a were creature. That would allow different creatures access in or out. Good idea, TJ. You got fireworks happening in your spot? They'll be 12 minutes early for Eastern time. But that doesn't mean they're not setting them off. Ancient dark demon god or a single white rabbit. Watch those rabbits. The undead were eaten first, and then the bite marks on the bones. Oh, General Nut, that is dark. That is dark. Hello, Max. How you doing? Happy New Year to you too, sir. Happy New Year to you too. That is good. The cannibals who ate the bodies, and then they used the bones to make skeletons, and so you can see the butchery marks and tooth marks on the bones. That's dark. Yeah, Wolf, it is. It is any excuse. And we've got Canada Day, which is roughly equivalent to the 4th of July, right? It's the 1st of July. At Canada Day, we've got Victoria Day, increasingly Diwali. In fact, a local community, Brampton, there were so many fireworks set on Diwali that there was just a thick smoke hanging over the whole area for days afterward. Days you could go outside and smell gunpowder. It's like, what's going on? Pools of water between the columns. Caryatid columns. Never seen them use caryatid columns. Oh man, I used to know what that was. I have a lot more architectural knowledge in my past than I have in my present. Might be some ghouls, as aren't they the result of cannibalism in the lore? I don't know, Blaine, but you know what? Why not? Why not? I love the smell of gunpowder in the morning and the evening, but never at dusk. Never at dusk. All right, so we're going to say that is. So we're going to say we got rock baboons here. Here, an empty room that shows signs of an ancient evil. Here, there's either we're going to have, it might be a ghoul spider here. I like that idea. Here was a preparation room, a mummification room, and there's some cursed magic item in this secret room. This is an empty chamber. It's more of just a pass through. Maybe there's some writing on the walls. You may notice I like writing on the walls. It creates this sense of ooh without me having to do anything. Secret door into what was a prison where they kept their victims. This is something of a passage room, maybe was used as a library. Maybe the southern wall of this room is full of shelves that have the moldering remains of ancient tomes. Here was a dining hall for then here the barracks for the monks of this faith. This chamber was a secret ritual room. And here was an entrance chamber, maybe a sort of cleansing room, in approximation of the wudu, or the mikveh bath, a sort of cleansing chamber as people came in. Here, either the kitchens, or maybe the kitchens are located outside. Maybe this is sort of a storage chamber, and then down to the vaults down beneath where worse horrors were found. And this, either a chamber, either a temple of a god previous for whom parts of this temple were constructed before the evil cult took over, or it's where the evil cult was storing their undead army full of the remains of cannibalized people. Creepy. And down here somewhere, there's some, maybe it's a semi-religious item, it's a semi-ritualistic item that interacted with will open up the deeply buried holding chamber for this evil, which rises up into the main temple area. Baptism room too, and that great evil releasing that was done once a year by the cultists, and then they'd have to, bring it back into line. We got 7 minutes here in the GTA. 9 minutes. Well, well, it depends on what my calendar. I'll ask the thing in the corner that listens to what I say. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 11:53 p.m.
11:53. We've got 7 minutes. And the creature catalog. Okay. I will look them up. I will look them up with the 7 minutes I have. Created catalog. I don't have them. They're not in mine. Am I spelling them right? I'm spelling it right. I don't have any curated columns. Maybe are they under columns curated? No. No, I don't have them. I don't have them. Index. No, they're not in this creature catalog, unfortunately. But I'll look those up. Ghouls are traditionally living creatures that eat flesh of the recently dead, but they are, Stu-Rat, they are, though, under the category of undead that the cleric can turn, so they have to have some relationship to the undead. Aha. Thank you, Sean Prosser. The living statue, okay, but as a column. Monk chant practice room. In the library, a scroll of fireball, but burnt beyond use. Oh, General Nut, you're just playing with them now. Jade statues are pretty neat. I think they absorb metal weapons when hit. That sounds cool. The ghoul spider would have some sort of sign or smell that gives it away as undead. Secret door in the southeast to the stairs opens to the right. If the right incense is burnt, ooh. 7. Evil AI, yes, but use living statue, but shape it as a column. Ghouls have a Lovecraftian connection too. Let's see what my phone's telling me. We got 5 minutes according to my phone. 5 minutes. How a Thule was created, isn't it? It's a ghoul and a troll and a... Oh, what was the third thing in there? It was some weird combination. It was some like, how on earth did they manage to mate, kind of. Burn the wrong incense and the statues come to life and attack. That's cool. You have to know your liturgy. Kids, you have to know your liturgy. Yeah. Oh, the ghouls in the non-D&D sense. Yes. Hobgoblin, thank you. Ghouls with a lisp. Oh, we've been reading... I've been reading the boys the Dragons of Autumn Twilight for their bedtime story. And I tell you, there's some creative editing that has to happen as you're reading it when you come up with concepts that, maybe the 8-year-old doesn't need rape to be part of his bedtime story, as I never read these books before. Like they were around when I was into D&D, but I was reading like, Tom Hardy and the Bronte sisters and Dickens and stuff like that when I was that age. But Victor Hugo. But so I'm reading them that, and there's this character, Fewmaster Toad, and for some reason I started talking like this for him, and this is his accent. I'm kind of hoping he's not supposed to be a fierce character because I've made him sound like a real fool. Yeah, I've never tried the modules at all. I've never been. I've never had any experience with the Dragonlance role playing or the novels until now. And I'm enjoying the story. But yeah, you do kind of have to, on the fly, find some substitutions for some things which skirt a little too close. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that the Dragonlance modules were kind of railroady, that they essentially wanted you to play the game that they played. It's like, we had fun doing this, you do it too. So, no, I want to play my own game. 2 minutes now, according to my computer. 2 minutes, according to Virgin Mobile. No, not always youngling friendly. But again, with some creative editing, with some careful editing, you can find your way around it. All right. And I love the fact that there's water here too, because that just makes the dungeon creepier. Uno momento. Yes, we've got 1 minute. Alexa, set a timer for midnight.
Alarm set for midnight tomorrow.
Midnight tomorrow? Well, we'll see.
Okay. Alarm changed to midnight tomorrow.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost at New Year's Eve. The New Year, rather. Anyhow, that's pretty cool. We'll look at the time now. Let's see if I can get up a clock on my... 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1... New Year! Alexa, cancel timer. Happy New Year! Whee! There we go. Will you be my first kiss of the new year? No, I'm not kissing you. Back me. Happy New Year, all. I wonder if there's any fireworks happening around us. I doubt it. I doubt it. Sincerely. Let's see. I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. Wolf, you must live in an exciting neighborhood. You're getting fireworks all the time. Yeah, we're getting nothing outside. Nothing. Knee-deep water and a layer of mist, and you don't need to put anything else in the room but a few breezes, and the player's imagination does the rest. That is too right, Blaine. Well, ever since that water weird, they get freaked out by puddles and wells and pools. Happy New Year from the East Coast. Thank you, Zadarok. I think I'm saying that somewhere near right. Happy New Year! And for everyone who is to the west of us, a message from the future. Happy New Year. Gunfire. Oh. A peaceful area with fireworks. Well, that's all right. I'm having my New Year's Day cookie. I'd share, but I can't. Absolutely, Sean. If the one bubble comes up and Touchberry would be gone. That's the thing I find so interesting. This last episode, he will not retreat. The last adventure we played, once we got into the combat with the direwolves, he would not retreat. He would not stop. But so often, he gets, kind of one brief encounter, and he's like, "Oh, I want to get out of here," or he won't go into a room. Like, "No, I won't go in first. You go in first." He runs hot and cold. Runs hot and cold. Fabu. Does anyone have any role playing? Oh, Todd, that's awful. A gelatinous cube submerged in a pit of water. Yes, James, Touchberry is the one afraid of heights. He's the one who he just decided. And I mean, it kind of flies in the face of things that happened earlier, because they'd gone up in the mountains before. He hadn't said boo about it, but he just decided that he was going to be afraid of heights. Maybe it's something that developed later. But now it's affecting things. Todd, that gelatinous cube submerged in a pit of water. Oh. That's just devilish. No retreat, no surrender, roll a new character. That's about it. Well, that's it, James. No retreat unless it involves going up unless it means going back down the hill. Does anybody have role-playing related resolutions for the year? Mine is to finally tie up some loose ends. I don't know if you noticed, I've got all sorts of plates spinning, all sorts of balls in the air. And I've got to start to bring them together. Because it's all things I'm like, that will be great as a future, future nemesis. I'll develop that over to the side. And so that's my resolution, is to tie up some loose ends for my campaign to try to get it back into something like order. To actually play a game, James, you not have a game you're part of or a group, eh? Soaps with dice in them. One is a gelatinous cube with a D20. That's cool. Stop buying rules you'll never actually play. Amen. To play instead of always being the DM. You haven't gotten to play in 20 years, Sean. My heavens. No new miniatures until you can paint some more. That's a good one, RC. That's a good one. Yes, if the water is murky, don't go. Don't go. Trying to play BECMI instead of 5e. It's hard to find someone DMing that, you know? I mean, like I run a BECMI game, but I run it for my family, right? And now for the church as well, for a group at the church. Less world building, more dungeon building, less my players get ahead of me. Yes. Although, oh, there's something. I don't know if you can hear those. Someone's got something. Someone's got something. I have to say, I kind of like it when my players get ahead of me because then they do part of the work. I always do better creating stuff with limitations. Like if part of it is already decided, part of it is constricted by a number of factors, I find it easier to create inside of a box because it forces me to adapt and to come up with something that will fit. Painting more and printing less. Painting more and printing less. Amen. If anyone, yeah, you play AD&D online. Yeah, Lo, it's very similar. It's very similar. It's very similar. You could run BECMI if anyone would actually play consistently. Do people play the 5e game consistently? Duck. I have never tried a solo game other than the solo one that's in the Menser basic book. I've never really tried a solo thing. I bought some, but when I was a kid, I bought some Mystery of the Snow Pearls, I want to say. And I had another one too. It was solo. They involved like a red thing to go over the pages, and I never really got into it. Bargle. Oh, well, you're waiting to see how Bargle returns. Well, Bargle. And spoiler alert. So turn your speaker off if you don't want a spoiler. Bargle has already appeared somewhat recently. You'd probably be able to guess what that refers to if you've been watching. Reloaded. Well, I just had a burst of fireworks here, and they clearly only bought a few. They only bought like a handful. They shot them off. They went back inside. It's really warm here now. I mean, for the end of December. 2023 is here, Road March. It is here. Good heavens. I just got used to writing 2022 on the checks. That's not true. I don't write checks anymore. Nobody writes checks anymore. But I used to get ready to typing 2022, and I'd send out we have every week we do an email blast, put the date in the title line. I have to remember that. Everyone wants to Evangelina, yes. Well, and interestingly, I haven't mentioned Alina's death as part of my campaign. I mean, in my mind, it's somewhere back there, but Bargle is still a slightly mysterious character, so her death, nothing that Don't tell me Bill was Bargle. I'm not saying anything. Her death hasn't sort of made it in the list of Bargle's crimes. Alina's murder was not high on the list, unfortunately. Yeah. No, I have about four things that are I'm actively, mostly in my head, but actively putting together for the campaign. The Bargle thread. There's an overarching thing that connects a lot of the villains, and then there's the dragons, another factor. That may or may not be connected. I haven't really decided yet, but a lot of them interlace in creative ways. Yes, Battle and Barrow did have Alina's murder. He did, and I am very pleased to be mistaken or mixed up rather with Battle and Barrow. Barrow was fabulous. Dwarves, yes, dwarves. I have a particular mini. It's not even a mini. It's enormous that I want to use, and I've had it forever now. And I thought I was going to use it way back, and I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think it would have been too much then. But yeah, so all I'll say about that. Yes, RC. It was hilarious. Like, they all the boys know that what Bargle did, and they know, they consider him a bad guy. And, my wife is like, "Why do we hate him? And why is he so bad?" They never took her through that adventure. I gave my eldest the player's book, and he, after we'd played our first adventure, or maybe even before. No, it was after. I gave him and he read through and he played that adventure, and then he sat down and essentially DM'd it for his brothers, because the middle guy at that point could read, and he could have read it himself, but his confidence was low. He still has low confidence in his own reading ability. Primarily because his older brother reads so well. But he read it to him, and then of course at the time, my youngest was like 6 when we started this. He's 6, yeah, he was 6 when we started doing this, so he wasn't reading anything at least not that complicated. The War in Christmas Village miniatures. I think the figures paint up a great holiday game. War in Christmas Village. You were never attached to Alina? Morgan Iron Wolf. Well, you go for the bad girl. What do you know? Do the Honeywood Bunch have a group of rival adventurers? No enemies, but one-upmanship rivals. You know what? Those 3 warriors who were racing them down to the Skeleton in Armor. If you remember the Skeleton in Armor episode, if you saw that one, the 3 warriors that also heard the song in the Copper Kettle Pub and were racing down, and eventually did show up a little bit behind them. They are somewhat rivals, and interestingly, those 3 showed up as NPCs in the group I ran, in the adventure I ran for the group at church. So they're set in the parish D&D game is set in the same world as the home one. Yes, Mark, Dungeon 23 challenge. All 3 of my boys have committed to doing it, and I bought them little day planners that have space in it. The other side isn't a Questing Beast was showing a day planner that had the week and then had a graph on the other page. I just gave them graph paper and this day planner to make notes in. So yes, all 3 of them are doing it. I don't think I'm going to do it. The Dungeon 23 is a one room a day dungeon to make up a mega dungeon. Reading teacher. I tell you, you know what? Like, I wish because he's actually quite a good reader. My middle guy, Touchberry, he is actually quite a good reader. He just, because his older brother is he's 2.5 years older, so he's done everything first, and he gobbles up books like crazy. He'll read a book like that in a day, and so it's cast a sort of shadow, middle child, right? The big secret room be an old home for your future dragon. It's gonna be their first clue to his existence and the start of the running quest to find them. Ooh. Find a piece of magic item that the dragon left behind and still has the rest of, and they need it. 2 fighters and a thief. Wolf, if you're talking about the group that is their rivals, yes, 2 fighters and a thief. They're probably going to meet. They need a spellcaster in their group. They're probably going to meet a cleric and join up with them. Maybe the cleric that my middle guy abandoned in order to play Touchberry. Now, that'll show him to drop a cleric. Loot the dead dwarf's body first. Well, I tell you, you know what, General? It's been fabulous. I've got 3 families bringing kids to the church to play this game, and one of the mums is playing too. She's a cleric. Yeah. 365 room mega dungeon. Saying cool using the same setting, especially as the exploits of the groups can be gossip in game. And it's neat, Blaine, that this group got its start because they heard Claster, one of the other group, this rival group, talking about having been on an adventure and fighting a skeleton in armor, a skeletal knight, and a chimera, and coming back with all this treasure. Of course, they didn't do that at all. They got there too late. But they're claiming that they did it, and that's why they showed up with all this treasure. So, are the giant honeybees going to make a comeback when the weather warms up? Maybe Touchberry could turn a one into a flying mound. Oh, he'd love that. He'd love that. Sister Rebecca the cleric. I don't know what her name was. I got to look at the sheet. Yeah, the 3 warriors. Yeah, two thieves and a. And you said, what was the thief's name? I think the thief's name was Black Dougal the thief. The thief's name was I can't remember. I have it. Dwarves do 1d8 plus 1 blunt minus 1 blunt damage when swung by the ankles. Used as an impact weapon. Yes, Patrick. Yeah, the random dungeons and crypts and ruined what have yous in the world are the loose ends of previous history. I love that. I put it on screen. The adventurers of their day failed to save, discover, etc. I forgot I had this feature, by the way, of putting comments on screen. They make excellent. No one tosses a dwarf. Frederick the Dwarf, Sister Rebecca the Cleric, and Black Dougal the Thief. Ah, gotcha. Party in the BX book. Gotcha. Yeah, there was the Beckme group. The Beckme book has suggested names for. It's not even suggested names. It's examples of you shouldn't say I'm a level 2 fighter. You should say I'm a warrior. I think it's warrior. And they gave examples of a character introducing themselves with with these names, and Touchberry I think was one of them. I think it was the name of a pre-rolled character in the same book. Happy New Year, Delver. Have you been launching off pyrotechnics, Bill? I saw your pictures of your daughter's Girl Scout troop. That looks fabulous. One of my parties actually had armor commissioned for their dwarf with handles on the heels, so he could be swung by the meat shield. Do dwarves make good curling stones? Everyone hating on the dwarves. Oh my gosh. Oh, bless you, Delver. Bless you, Delver. Bless your soul. See, and here I am with no knowledge at all of Morgan. Bargle Bill, shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. The class level titles, I do too. I do too. And Myrmidon is a great level name. It's a great level name. I like the idea of there being, some sense of the fighters that all the fighters of the realm have sort of gathered together. They've agreed this is what it means to be at this level. You have to have killed this many goblins. You've got to have taken on a bugbear. See, Bill comes by and he shills for me, and I love him for it. God bless you. Morgan was the Alina of the early basic set. Gotcha. Black Dougal, you find that you missed a tiny discolored needle on the latch. Please roll a saving throw versus poison, please. Ooh. Happy New Year, DM Tales. How are you doing? Speaking of good channels, we've got the Delver and DM Tales joining us. Poison. I love that there's a game being played in the chat right now. That's fabulous. Actually, let's see here. I can do something. I'm going to briefly disappear here. Just woke up from the fireworks. Oh, dear heavens. Dear heavens. Ermacol the Chaotic is better than Morgan or Alina. Oh, I think you got a fight on your hands, Bill. I think you got a fight on your hands. Patrick, you have a good Patrick. Am I right or wrong that you are in the UK? If you're in the UK, my heavens, you don't need to get to bed. You need to get out of bed because it's like morning with you. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe you're not. I think I may be mistaken with someone else. Roll initiative, Delver. Them's fighting words. I'll see if Delver's got his Discord open. Oh, Pedar. How can you kill Alina twice? Oh, just twist the knife. Turn her to stone. Just twist the knife. Oh, man. No, we don't have anyone here from the UK, do we? Because gosh, if you are, man, you're dedicated, or you're an insomniac. I know I've got a couple of people who watch. Bruno the Battler, Mongo the Mighty, Priestess Clarissa, Holmes Basic. True that. Well, she had to be at least second level because she had a heal light wounds spell. She may have been She may have been anywhere higher than that. Now in Ontario. I used to be in Wisconsin, and now I'm in Ontario. Tim goes way back. Holmes Basic. It's 5:24 in the UK right now. Are you in the UK Road March? I thought you were. I didn't think you were. I sometimes lose track of which side of the Atlantic various people are on. Because that would be a very, very, very early morning for you right now. Now, I like most teenage, preteen boys finding my way into D&D through Menser. I had Alina was my girl. I got my boys don't know this. I got an Alina Mini from a company in Montreal. They printed it up. God bless them. They took forever to print it and send it. It took a dog's age to dog's life. Took a long time, but I did finally get it, and it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. It's really well done. I still haven't glued it together or painted it because that's what you do with minis. You buy them and then don't paint them. But in Georgia, you just looked it up. Okay, yeah. I don't think anyone is in the UK. I thought Patrick Holt was, but I don't know. He's gone now. But no, I was yes, the Caramel Senior member of the Order of the Griffin, and there's a bit where Bargle shows up in another module, and he's an advisor to somebody. He's advisor to the Baron, I think it is, and and there's some shadow of a thing about someone he murdered back in the day. I think that's what it was. It wasn't a mini. It was really Alina, petrified and shrunk by Bargle. Well, he must have done it twice then, because I got two of them. One to try to paint, and the other one in case I messed up the painting on the first one. And just for your amusement and enjoyment, because I have not done this before, and I'm new to let's see. Can you hear me? Yes, the Black Eagle Baron. Audio. Okay, well, that's back at least. And oh, you know what helps? That helps.
That helps. Yeah, if you actually turn the headset on, it helps. Hey, there we go. And we have a guest. Hey, I have never done this before. Can you tell? Welcome, Mr. Bill Sylvie, the Dungeon Delver.
It's good to see you, man. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Padre. Thank you.
Anyone out there who doesn't know Bill, you can find him at the Dungeon Delver, and fabulous stuff. I heartily recommend it. You need to be subscribed there so you can go over and enjoy the fun. I'm gonna call up your because I know you can't post a link. I'm gonna call up your channel and put a link in the chat. Dungeon
Right.
Delver does well. I'll let you they do what you do.
Oh, I just I stream old school D&D and RPGs in general. I mean, my main focus is first edition AD&D. I give a lot of grief to the basic folks, but that's okay because I love it all. Old school D&D is good D&D in my opinion. But I mostly talk about AD&D these days, but we also, I got a whole library of RPGs behind me here. I'm not using my big fancy schmancy DSLR up there. I'm just using the webcam right now. But if that was pulled out, you could see I got like 2 shelves of gaming stuff over here to always dig into and talk about. And just, we just have a good time. We do live streams 3 nights a week. We do first edition AD&D on Tuesday nights. We do some kind of classic RPG on Wednesday nights. It's run by Kyle, my co-host. And then on Friday nights, we're currently playing classic Gamma World.
And it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. The games are great to watch and sometimes hilarious, sometimes unintentionally so, but usually intentionally so hilarious. And I really enjoy just the hanging out and shooting the breeze. It reminds me of having friends back when I had those. It's like having an actual social life. Because a priest's social life is a little weird. You've been asked, by the way, Delver, how your invisible horse is doing.
The horse disappeared around Christmas time. Said something about heading out to Arkansas. I'm not sure what to make of that. So, I guess we'll just have to see or not see, as the case may be. That is NOT space SEE YouTube. By the way, hopefully I just push you into demonetization territory. Speaking of monetization, all of you need to super chat. Dungeon Minister, super chat. Throw $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever. If you've got it, be generous with it.
I want it on the record that he said that and I didn't.
Yes, that is correct. So I am shilling for Dungeon Minister right now, hard. So super chat him, please. That is just jealousy of the wonderfulness of BCM. I'll tell you guys a story, if you don't mind, Dungeon Minister.
You go.
My first D&D was no D&D. My first D&D, I bought Keep on the Borderlands, the one that is tooled for Holmes basic D&D. That's all I bought. That and some dice. And I got home and I started reading it and I said, this seems pretty simple. There's tables and charts in the middle for me to figure out what to roll. And then when I got to the section about advancing characters, if you look on page 56 of the rule book, and I'm like, awesome. And I flip to the back and I'm like, there's just a picture of a Minotaur here. Oh boy. And that's when it dawned on me that I didn't really have what I needed to play D&D, but just sussing out the rules a little bit, I was able to sort of kind of play D&D. So technically the first D&D I ever played would have been kind of Holmes basic D&D with a big chunk invented by me. I just made up some stuff to have fun.
But that's what any of us do. At some point you stop. At some point you stop being slave to the rules and you start using them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just started earlier than most people. You just got your start earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw the weirdest thing. Like this popped up on Twitter not too long ago, and Twitter for RPG is actually good now. If you just ignore the screeching into the void that so many people do, but somebody was asking, like literally, what D&D did you start with? Was it second edition, third, 3.5, fourth, or fifth? And I'm like, you do realize that there is like a decade and a half of Dungeons and Dragons before second edition. Like, do you not understand? There you go, Wolf's Brigade.
Bless you, Wolf's Brigade. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you.
But no, that was it just kind of surprised me. People that think that like old school vintage D&D is something that I look at. I'm like, that's new D&D. I don't play that. So, it's
2023 Road March. You're retiring this year. 30 years in the Army. First of all, thank you. Thank you for your service, Road March.
Absolutely.
30 years.
That's a hitch. that is a hitch, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So, Road March, what was your branch? What was your service? What did you do? I ask expecting a return right away, knowing that there's a lag in the chat. Old school to Wolf, back me in AD&D. Started back in the early 80s. That is to me. I didn't play AD&D back then. I've only had glancing experiences with it, but it was always part of the picture. And as far as I was concerned, it was back me. It was AD&D. That's what there was. BX and Holmes. I didn't know about Holmes at all. I knew that BX was somewhere in the periphery behind BECME. That it was like the something foundational to it. But it wasn't. It was always, to me, there was basic and there was advanced, and that was what there was. And then I left the hobby for the longest time, and I come back and fifth edition. Well, when was there a second edition? When was there a third? And it probably happened while I was playing. I just didn't notice. You still got explosions, Wolf. We got nothing anymore. We've got nothing. We're just not terribly enthused about 2023 in Canada. Infantry, 30 years.
That's a lot of marching.
That's a lot of marching.
That's a lot of I would have hitched a ride in an M113 or something at some point with that.
Well, it wouldn't have taken 30 years then. That is a long career. Oh, God bless you.
Listen,
God bless you. And happy retirement,
Right?
I'm glad you're getting close. Now, when I was gaming, the only sort of departures from BECME I made was playing. I know I played some sci-fi game at some point, and I don't know if it was Gamma World or Star Frontiers. I got no idea what it was, but the only other thing I played was Vampire in university, and enjoyed the heck out of it. Clunky mechanics, but
were you a LARPer? Were you a LARPer?
I was not. I did go to Renaissance Festival. I worked at a Renaissance Festival, actually, selling leather goods.
But you didn't don a black trench coat and listen to some Sisters of Mercy on headphones.
Well, I had the black trench coat, and it wasn't Sisters of Mercy. It was 9 Inch Nails, but it had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with LARPing. Yeah.
The Dungeon Minister Edgelord.
That's what I was. I had a it frightens me to say it now, a Mao Zedong T-shirt and a little leather cap and a beard down to there.
Oh my gosh,
Little red cookbook, little red cookbook.
that is appalling. I love it.
I was appalling. You know, I called the White House to complain. So, what about? I don't know. I mean, I was 18. What did I know? What did I know? Man, 41 years since Sean Prosper's first Beck Me game. Playing ever since. Always comes back to Beck Me. I love it, and I know we got Bill here as a paragon of a paladin of the Church of AD&D, but for me it's the simplicity. It's just the when I travel, I like to have a carry-on, and that's it, you know. And so like the Beck Me to me is like the carry-on bag. I've got everything I need. I got my underwear, I got my toothbrush, got my deodorant, you know. But this is all I need, just this backpack. It's just very stripped down. Mage here. Someday someone's going to reorganize the editions by release date. So OD&D will be first edition, Holmes Basic is second edition, and so on, and they'll confuse everyone.
Yeah, there's a flow chart, and I swear, like those of you who get this will get this, and I think probably let's see who I'm so terrible at this, but Tim, you'll probably get this, or I'm sorry, Road March will probably get this. The flow chart.
Oh, we just lost Bill. I promise I didn't do that. I think he just clicked something and went somewhere. Well, in the meantime, 15 years a weapons instructor. That sounds pretty cool. Happy New Year, James Breeden. You know what? The rule cyclopedia, no problems there. For me, like I probably now could easily use the world's cyclopedia, the rule cyclopedia really easily. What I liked about Beck Me as I experienced it was that you get the rules for where you were. My boys have a bunch of 5e books because that's what's on sale now, and they're constantly introducing monsters that are way too powerful, way too early, right? And I do swear to God, Mage's Musings. They're introducing really powerful, because they're all in there, right? The whole book is there. And I love the fact that you got, with AD&D, you've got these monsters that your players could handle. And then in Expert, you got these monsters that level could handle, you know. It is, Peter. There was a sense of at first what I gather was that the Holmes was meant to be like teach people how to play this game, make it easier to learn than the old OD&D was, and then they would release AD&D, and this would be an on ramp into that book, into that game. But it didn't pan out. People learned the basic, and they're like, no, I like this. I just want to keep this. Travel light, freeze at night. Now there's enough in there to keep me warm, Road March. There's enough in there to keep me warm. If nothing else, Alina. I don't think my wife heard that. DM is on a list to Washington somewhere in black and white. Hey, the Delver's back.
About that.
There you are. You went through a dimension door, Sean says.
I did. I thought I thought maybe at first one of your viewers who was not a fan of AD&D or my opinions on it used a sphere of annihilation, and then I remembered you guys don't have those in your version of D&D, so I have nothing to fear.
We have plenty to fear, just not a fear of annihilation. A disintegration spell, maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah, we were talking about, well, in your absence, we were talking about the, well, first of all, Road March is saying he spent 15 years as a weapons trainer, which sounds pretty cool. But the sort of incremental nature of BECME as opposed to the rule cyclopedia, like now, I could grab the rule cyclopedia and operate it very handily. But I think when I was learning, it was better for me to get the basic set and not have access to a beholder, because I would have said like, "Oh, that's cool. You're second level. You can handle this," But
all you got to do is just make saving throws and then run up and stab it. I mean,
come on, yeah, big babies. Yeah, so I like that aspect, and I also like that not just the DM but the players they'd get the information they needed as they needed it. Yeah, Holmes, an intro to AD&D, and the BX and BECME just. I think by the time it came to BECME, it was clear that there were people who wanted that route, and they didn't want to cross back over.
yeah.
So they just wanted to, blackball after Dungeon Delver.
The funny thing, I was going to grab a Holmes rulebook real quick, which I still am going to do. But the funny thing, and I remember seeing somebody wrote a heartfelt plea to Dungeon Magazine, or it may have even been to Dragon before they split off Dungeon and do its own things, and said, please, can you please release more adventures in Dungeon or in Dragon, whatever, for basic D&D. And from Kim Mohan, who passed away recently, right around Christmas, but the response was, send us some. We'd love to have them. We'd love to publish basic adventures. If people will write us basic adventures and send them in, we will publish basic adventures. And I mean, obviously there's an unspoken that are worth publishing, right?
Right.
But I mean, it wasn't that TSR didn't want to support it at all. I mean, they very easily could have said, look, we're going to print a couple thousand of these and, not really going to talk about it. We're never going to run ads for it. We're never going to make modules for it. And then, we can look at Dave Arneson in a couple of years and shrug our shoulders and say, oh, well, sorry, I guess it doesn't sell. But, but the reality was, and this is a conversation I had with Gary, he was absolutely okay having basic and advanced D&D both for sale at the same time. It was not a bad thing for the company. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought, once I kind of got my feet under me, but before I was fully cognizant and I got a basic rule set, I thought that like you played basic and then you graduated to advanced.
Right. But I
Because
think that,
all of the AD&D modules I saw started at 4th level. They were all level 4 to 7. What did basic cover? 1 to 3. Obviously, what you do is, and Gary kind of laughed and said, well, we certainly didn't disabuse anyone of ideas like that. That if you wanted to buy both versions of D&D, we're okay with it. And I just don't get why Wizards leaves that money on the ground. Why they would say, okay, AD&D, OD&D, basic D&D, whatever flavor of basic D&D we're talking about, 2E and even 3E and 3.5 and 4th and now 5th edition fans just shove off.
Yeah.
Your money's no good here anymore. I don't understand that.
I don't either. I mean, just why the idea that why the idea that the need to be a monolith just seems silly to me. I do want to point out here, Todd Sharp, thank you and bless you here. Dungeon Delver, your shilling worked.
That's right. And Todd is on my Patreon, and I just, since I've got the platform and I'm not live streaming anything again until Monday, I do want to say I've been remiss on my Patreon. Stuff's coming for all of you Patreon supporters, of which Todd Sharp is one. So thank you for your patience, those of you who stuck it out for so long with so little content from me. I formally apologize. You can't get mad at me. I have a priest sitting next to me.
A little ways away, but yeah, I'm over here. No, DM's Tale, it is still for sale, but there could have been, I think in the original go of it, there could have been so much more. There could have been, there are a lot of modules for basic, but nothing like for AD&D. I just don't think there's the volume.
Did you get Dungeon Minister? Did you get like the big thick Goodman Games re-release, like the hardback versions of B1 and B2 and the Lost City and the X modules and stuff like that? Did you get any of those?
Back in the day, you mean? Or
No. The new ones at Goodman just they started releasing a few years ago. You haven't gotten those?
Well, I don't know if these are included. There's a whole whack of things that fellow Jay sent me, a whole box of stuff. I don't know if that includes any of that or not, but it's reprints and things like that mostly. Really, I mean, it's a whole so much of stuff.
Mage's
5e update. My middle guy, Touchberry, for Christmas he got Barrier Peaks adapted for 5e. So it's a big chunky book. It's huge.
Yeah, those books are crazy. It's just, there we go. But the 5th edition reimagined books are, you could injure someone if you dropped one on them.
Yeah. That's it. Blaine here saying, I read someone, so take with a grain of salt, the basic, etc., was very successful in the non-English speaking market versus AD&D. So
yes.
I can see translating Gygaxian English into Spanish or Italian or something would be difficult. That would be difficult.
Yeah. As far as I know, this actually came. This was Eyewitness, a buddy of mine, back in like 2015, 2014, went to Chile on an extended vacation. And way down in south, he was in like the southern tip of Chile. I don't think he was all the way down at Tierra del Fuego, but he actually saw a comic book store, a comic and game store, and there was a pirate softback copy of the 1E Player's Handbook translated into Spanish. And he said, to this day, I kick myself for not buying it while I was down there.
Really? Yeah.
What a curio that would have been. He was like, he just like stuck his head in, was looking around, and was like, "Oh, no way."
That would be cool. I would like that. I couldn't read a word of it, but just to flip through it and go, "Oh, that's
yeah,
that would be awesome." Yeah, I had someone early on. Marco watched from Italy,
mm-hmm.
and so Peter is saying that. Beckme and Mistara are huge in Italy. This guy was Italian, and it was early days, and I would watch the analytics for what countries people were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all shiny and new, and you're all obsessed with that stuff. And I kept getting these hits from Italy, and then he started commenting like, "I got someone in Italy is watching this. That's so cool." So, I have to say, Canada, you got to pull it together and my stats. I mean, the U.S. is at the top. I don't know, 70% of hits come from the US, of course. And then it's the UK, and then it's Australia, and Canada's like 4th or 5th. Sometimes New Zealand tops it out. Brazil, Portugal sometimes tops it out. Come on. But,
yeah,
my people.
Well, speaking of metrics, can I do just a brief shout out? Just a quick thank you.
You go.
Okay. I asked and I received as a gift from my viewers. Thank you for those who pushed me up to 1450. It's happened over the course of a couple of days, and I jokingly mentioned on Twitter. I said, "Hey, you guys will, ending 2022 on kind of a weird number, 1447 subs. It sure would be nice to have 1450, a nice run." And 3 people did that. So thank you, whoever that was. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Mage's music
No,
stays the same, 75% US watchers. Should I start using US spelling? No, make them put the U back in those words.
No, keep that out of there.
It's not in. You know why the U isn't in there?
Why?
Noah Webster, putting together his dictionary, wanted to differentiate American English from British English. He decided, one guy just said, well, no, we don't need that. Took it out. And so, of course, because spelling at that point was fluid, it wasn't like there was a way to spell honor. There wasn't a way to spell color. And so he's put together the dictionary, and he just decides that there's no U in that word. Now we're taking it out.
Well, then you might know this better than I keep looking up the camera that's over there that's not switched on. You might know this better than me. I have heard a story that sounds too good to be true, but it sounds true enough that it is probably 100% accurate, that when printing really took off in the 1200s, the better printing presses were in Germany.
Yes.
And so the English would send manuscripts to the Germans, and their handwritten manuscripts, they would send it to Germany to have printed. And the word the, T-H-E, confused the hell out of German typesetters. That TH sound just threw them. Well, TH and E kind of threw them. So they would send it back with YE. So instead of the castle, ye castle.
Well, it was the thorn. It was a Saxon letter that evolved into, by way of a Y into the TH, but it wasn't just that it wasn't just sending manuscripts to Germany. It was that the printing presses and the type blocks were made in Germany, and they were brought over to English-speaking countries, the UK at the time, and so they had these German letter blocks, and there were ones they didn't use, to chuck out the umlaut ones, but they had to make do with the letters they had, and so it changed English, which was a Germanic language to begin with.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that is, and Wolf Brigade is getting silly in the comments.
Brit English is a dead language.
And Mage's music coming back hard, knowing that you are willing to let the ego of one man dictate your language.
Yeah, well.
Oh man, we've lost a few letters over the years. We have. Speaking of lost letters, is a YouTube channel, Lost in the Pond. It's a British guy.
I know the one you're talking about, and yeah, you go ahead. But I think you and I are thinking of the same one.
Yeah, he's a very funny guy. He has this very strange delivery, where he has this very strange voice, but he just got American citizenship.
Yes, that was awesome. I left him a comment on his video. Said, "Welcome home, Larry."
I'm sure it made his skin crawl, which is fabulous.
Well,
he's very funny.
His first trip to America was like when he was in, like, I guess it qualifies late middle school, early mid. I'm not sure when, but it was to Orlando. I'm in Central Florida. I'm in the Orlando area, and he talked about all the places he went, and this would have been like 1992 or something like that. At that time, I worked in a huge shopping mall, which is central. It's kind of on the axis by which I mean roadways, YouTube, of tourist land in South Orange County. Basically, if you're staying at this gargantuan hotel that's attached to the mall, you're like 30 minutes from Disney, you're like 20 from SeaWorld, 15 from Universal, but you're also like 15 minutes from the airport. It's incredibly convenient. So like during the spring and summer, our tourist traffic was just off the charts. And when he did that video about that, his first trip to America was to Orlando and going to Wet and Wild, and he mentioned how disappointed he was that the Wet and Wild water park had been demolished. It's now a parking lot for Universal Studios. Universal Studios bought them, opened a better, newer water park inside Universal, but of course you have to pay Universal tickets to get into it. But I couldn't help but think, did I bump into him and his parents when I was working in the record store? Because we had everybody, like whatever the sound of the summer was, whether it was Nirvana, Pearl Jam, insert rap album here or whatever, we just got mobbed for people that wanted music to listen to while they were on vacation or stuff they couldn't get back home yet and that sort of thing. So I do wonder if Lawrence and his family maybe cruised through the music land there and I would have bumped into him. But no, that him becoming a U.S. citizen, I thought was pretty sweet.
That was charming. And happy New Year to everyone in the Central Time Zone.
Yes.
The center of the country.
Greetings, dwellers from the past. Don't be frightened by our technology. Please take a few minutes to acclimate yourselves to this future zone that you live in now.
It is 2023 in Wisconsin. It is 2023 in the Holy Land of Lake Geneva.
I think that it's 1978 in Wisconsin and will always be.
I wish.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's also 1 a.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. Hello from the future. Let's tell you how the next hour of your life is going to go.
Yes.
But I've got a job to do tomorrow. Some little thing I do on Sundays. So
Is that thing where you like stand up and ramble for like 49 minutes?
No, that's my YouTube channel.
Oh, right.
No, I do have and 2 a.m. for Sean. Good heavens, Sean, what are you still doing up? Welcome to the world of tomorrow. But I do have to work on Sunday's Road March. You'd think they'd let me have off so I could go to church, but no. So I am going to wrap up, or I'm going to be dead in the pulpit tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to preach about. Can I
tell a completely clean and very funny Dave Allen joke story before you go?
I don't know. Can you? Is that possible?
I can, but will you allow me to? That's the question.
I will allow you to. Yes.
Okay. So if you don't know who Dave Allen is, he's an Irish funny man. He passed away a few years ago, but it's hilarious guy. You can find clips of his stuff on YouTube. Really, really greatly funny guy. And he tells us one about a priest that wakes up and it's like, first morning in March, or first nice day in March in Ireland, and he's a duffer, and he looks out and the sky is crystal clear and it's like 60 degrees and there's no frost on the ground and there's no breeze at all, and he's like, oh, I can't let this day go to waste. So he calls the parish and feigns illness and says, can you have somebody else come and deliver the sermon? And of course, and so he goes, and St. Peter witnesses this, and he says, Lord, look at this. And God watches him and says, don't worry, I have this under control. So he tees off. 450-yard drive, right in the cup, hole in one. He can't believe it. And St. Peter says, "What, Lord, what is?" And I've got this under control. Don't worry. Goes to the second hole, 308 yards over both bunkers and the water hazard, right in the cup, hole in one. And St. Peter is utterly perplexed. And he's, I don't understand. He said, I have this under control. Hole after hole after hole. He plays an impossibly perfect game of golf. Every shot, no matter how far, no matter how difficult the lie, hole in one. And St. Peter's flabbergasted, and he says, Lord, infinite are your mysteries, but please impart to me your wisdom. I thought you were going to punish him. And he leans over and he says, Pete, who's he going to tell? I've always loved that joke. Who's he going to tell? Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. I know I've been late to the light to StreamYard, so I haven't been able to have guests. But you've had me on your show, and I thought it's only right. It's only right, and you're always good value for money. And if you're not subscribed to the Dungeon Delver, get over there and rectify that. You will see me in the chat. Now that Christmas has passed and I have a bit more of my life back, you'll see me in the peanut gallery doing to Bill what Wolf's Brigade has been doing to the chat here.
I look forward to it.
Being silly and fun. So Happy New Year to everyone. And if you are west of the Central Time Zone, Happy New Year to you to come. Hang in there. It's coming. We'll send you some 2023. We won't take all of the celebration. We'll leave some for you. Have a good one, everybody.
Peace, everyone.
Take care.